everybody and welcome to Challenge Fatty. My name's Rob and I will be your host. On this channel, basically all we're going to do is, if you think about your friends at work, college, in your life, everybody that you know who is one of those active people. When I say active people, you know the type that has a Thule roof bars on and they leave them on their car all year long. That kind of active person. The skinny beanpole at work who just comes in and goes, you know what, I'm going to do X. Or on a Monday morning when you're getting your first coffee and you say, did you do anything nice at the weekend? Out of pure politeness, they decide to tell you that they did a triathlon. They ran up some mountain or other, or they, I don't know, swam the channel. That because, and they just drop it like it's just another thing. They did that after scratching their backside when they got out of bed in the morning on Saturday. That kind of person. Well, you know when you listen to their events and you think, no, I couldn't do it. There's no way. I couldn't do it. Well, quite a lot of people say that because they're unfit, unmotivated, or they're worried about how they'll look. This channel is going to be showing anybody who cares to watch this, probably about 4 people outside of my family or me watching it back just for pure masochism. This channel is going to be me doing those events like I have done in the blog so far. I'm going to do these events to prove that a fat person can do it, hence challenge fatty. Okay, so I want to put in a disclaimer here, very quick disclaimer. I am not your parents, I am not a professional, I am not a nutritionist, I am not a coach, I am not your spirit animal. None of it, what I do or say should be taken as guidance or advice or instruction. If you turn up at your local hospital because of something you've done trying to imitate me, who's going to look the silly person? Oh, I broke my arm imitating somebody on YouTube. They're going to laugh at you, not me. So please do not try and do this without speaking to everybody's different, so speak to a doctor. If you're going to do something, one of the strenuous things I'm going to attempt, I will have spoken to a doctor, therefore you should speak to a doctor. I will have spoken to a nutritionist about the food or the nutrition I need to do to take part in these events. That means you probably should. Unless you are a professional, then in that case, why the fuck are you watching this? Yeah, that's the introduction. That's the channel. We'll see you in the next episode. Hello everybody and welcome back to Challenge Fatty. Now, one of the first challenges I'm going to do this year is something called Pub Bike Challenge. Now, this was, I can't say imagined, this was created. This was dreamt up by me and a few friends who have far too much time on our hands, needed a challenge because, well, the whole point of this blog and video and vlog, it's a vlog now, isn't it? The whole point of this whole thing, this whole Challenge Fatty thing, is for me to challenge myself. In recent years I've done triathlons, half marathons, rode across the country, done stupid things like that to prove a fat person like me can do that. When I say a fat person, I mean I am, according to the NHS at least, I have a BMI which puts me in the obese point of view. I am 5'9", and wait a sec, I will stand up and you can see my general chunkiness. I am around 230 pounds. Now, you may have seen other people on YouTube, Mark Lewis for example, who is 230 pounds, except he is 230 odd pounds of rippling muscle on a 6'6" frame. By all means, I'll put a link to his channel in the description below. I am 230 pounds on a 5'9" frame, And instead of being rippling muscle, I'm wobbling fat. And I am perfectly aware of that. If that's just how life is for me. So what the pub bike challenge was, because the cost of living has got so far out of hand recently, with mainly fuel price going up, food, gas, electric, all the rest of it, we decided that we needed a challenge that helped show there is an alternate way. So we wanted a no-cost challenge. Now, we all looked at each other and went, well, what can we do that's technically free? And because I have some friends who are arseholes, yeah, there will be swearing in this blog, by the way. Because I have friends who are arseholes, they decided to say, well, a tank of diesel, petrol, is about £100. And my friends down in London could do about 400 miles out of a tank of petrol, and I can do more in a tank of diesel. But we decided we stuck on 400 miles. 400 miles for £100. And you've got to do it on a pub bike. What's a pub bike? Pub bike, very simply, is a bike that is so rough that it is its own security device. Nobody will want to steal it because it looks like a piece of shit. And the challenge is, we have to do for £100, we have to do 400 miles of activities you would normally use your car for. So instead of using that £100 in petrol or diesel, you'll use your bike to do that 400 miles. Got it? This is where it gets fun. Because we are, well, some of us are engineers, some of us are pedantic bastards, some of us are too sporty, some of them are, what's a good word? No, I've used the arsehole word already. So, right. The £100, you can't just go out and buy a £100 bike. Well, you can, but you'd be stupid, basically, because £100 has to last you the 400 miles. So if you get a puncture, you've got no money left to buy a puncture repair kit or a new inner tube. If you need to go to a bike shop and get something fixed, that has to be included. If you need a new tyre, a new cable, a new brake pad, all of that has to be included. Everything has to be included, except for very, very basic maintenance stuff. Consumables like WD-40 or grease, that's included. Basic tools, screwdrivers and spanners, that's included. Anything specialised that you have to buy, like a cassette removal tool or a bearing press or anything like that, has to be included. Basic tools, basic consumables included. Specialist stuff you have to buy, then that gets included in your £100. So if you buy a 90 quid bike and suddenly something goes wrong, like a bearing goes wrong, and you have to buy a bearing press to get the bearing out and then buy another 7 quid bearing to put back in, you're out of budget and you fail. So this is the challenge. And there's tricky ways around this as well, so bear with me while my brain goes in the direction which everybody else's brain has already gone. Oh well, I could say, this bike behind me, that'll do. I think that's 15 quid. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to buy and produce receipts for everything of your £100. You don't have to spend the full £100, but everything you do spend, you have to keep a receipt for. Whether that's your eBay winners receipt, whether that's a receipt from a shop, whether that's a handwritten receipt from a... Now, I know some people in my friends are going to do this. They're going to go to a car boot sale. Nobody at a car boot sale gives a receipt, but you got to keep a track of it somehow. One of the thoughts I had was to go, if I saw a bike in a skip, would be to go to the owner of that skip and go, excuse me, can I buy this off you for a token gesture amount of money, seeing how you're throwing it away. Even if it's 50p, you have bought a bike and you must buy a bike for this. You can't just, as I said, you can't just revalue one of your existing bikes. Also, any parts you have, whether it's a head unit, whether it's pedals, whether it's light, and we'll come back to lights. Everything that you already own for bikes, you cannot use. You have to buy for this, except for lights. Now, I do a bit of commuting occasionally, and to be honest, it gets sketchy in the dark. And for safety reasons, I've said that you could do, I complained to the point where we included lights as free items. I don't want anybody dying, I don't want anybody hit, and if we can give everybody the best chance of being seen, then fine. Not included in the budget. That simple. So, where are we? So, you've got to buy a bike. It's got to be under £100. All your maintenance and all your parts and tools and specialist tools are included in that £100. And you got now, that brings us on to mileage. Now, because I have a bike and because I do cycling events, I kind of don't like this, but I'm not allowed, well, we are not allowed to include training mileage. Because otherwise I'd go out and do a 60-mile ride one day, 60-mile ride, 60-mile ride, 40-mile. You get the idea. And I would stack up quite a lot of mileage just going around in a loop doing nothing. That's not the point of Pub Bike Challenge. The Pub Bike Challenge is for you to replace mileage on the car and fuel with a bike. Okay, so you can use it for commuting, nipping to the shops, social visits if you're going to go and meet your gran, if your mother-in-law needs her taps fixed, jump on Pub Bike. If you're... Now, one thing which is a bit of a grey area is going back to tools. Now, if I have a chain whip and one of the other competitors needs a chain whip, we can borrow tools. And if you're borrowing tools from a friend who's on Pub Bike Challenge, you can ride your pub bike to them, count the mileage because it's a social visit, borrow the tool, use it there, ride back. Now, all the mileage is not fully in replace of your car, because let's face it, there's some mileage you do, like I do, dropping my kids off at their friends or picking them up from school or whatever. It's not going to be 100% replace your car with this shit bike. So it's just to say that you can use a cheap form of transport in replace of it for quite a lot of it, and that's what we're going to prove out. If you want to go through the whole methodology of this, we want to be able to do 400 miles cheaper than we can in a car. If it's £99.99, it's cheaper than doing it in a car. If we realise that we can, but we're not putting tree hugger moment, if we're not burning fuel, so we're helping the environment by doing 400 less miles in a car, we're doing it on a bike. We may find it's easier, we may find it's simpler, we may find we get fitter, we lose weight, I might get run over, I don't know. Yeah, so there's a whole different pile of reasons why we're doing this, and hopefully soon I should be able to buy a bike to start this challenge. See, that's one of the weird things, is I'm now trying to figure out which way I go on this. Do I buy a very, 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 very cheap bike to a point where I have to replace most stuff, but then again I will replace most stuff, so it should be reliable? Or do I buy the nicest bike I can on the assumption that it will last because it's a nice bike? and that's where we're coming. And there's a sliding scale in between of which one it's going to be. So my life is currently Shpock, eBay, Facebook Marketplace, where most things are stolen, allegedly. Yeah, that's currently my life at the moment, is just trying to find a bike to do this. If I can find a bike, amazing, can't wait. And then I will run you through all the background of why, what am I going to do to it. I will probably throw in a few clips of me riding it, and discuss maybe weekly what mileage I've done on the bike and where I am in the challenge. This will probably be alongside all the other ideas for Challenge Fatty that I have. So I'm hoping to do a triathlon at the end of the year. I've got a 24-hour go-kart race to do, possibly a half marathon in October, nighttime trail races. Those are the kind of things that I'm going to do, again, because there are quite a few people who are my size who would look at that and go, maybe not. I would be last is the biggest comment I've always heard. I would be last. And if I can do a parkrun and not be last, you can do a parkrun and not be last. Please try it. Find out. Surprise yourself. Anyway, see you in the next episode when hopefully I have a bike. Hello everybody and welcome back to Challenge Fatty. Now, in the last episode we discussed Pub Bike Challenge, the art of taking a shit bike that costs some money, less than £100, and doing 400 miles with that £100 on said shit bike. And I have bought said shit bike. This is my pub bike. I have bought it off eBay from a very nice man on the Wirral for £9. Yes, 9. One less than 10, one more than 8, 9 English pounds. You can barely buy a KFC meal for £9 where I'm around here, so ta-da. So I'm going to go over the very, very basics before I start stripping it down and trying to figure out what useful shit I've got left on this. Because £9 doesn't get you a lot, obviously. Now, I could have been sensible and I could have gone and bought a £75 bike, which would have worked perfectly, and used that for 400 miles. And well, where's the challenge in that? So, let's see. Front brakes. Sorry, that's back brakes. Seized. Front brake. Works. Yay. Front tyres holding pressure. It's dry rotten as anything, but it's holding pressure. That's a good sign. The chain is rather rusted to a point where you can actually kink it and it will hold that kink. There is no back inner tube, which isn't that much of a problem, seeing how the tyre's dry rotted as well. The seat is partially green where it's gone mouldy, and apart from that there's more rust on it than the Titanic and more slop than your sister. So I'm going to do a bit of B-roll, flyby of this awesomeness, and then I'm going to start taking bits off it and trying to figure out what I've got left which is usable for my £9, and how much of my £91 left I've got left to make this actually do 400 miles. So I can tell for a start it's going to need cables and a chain and 2 tyres, possibly a seat. But what I can do, because if you remember we discussed this, is some of the basic maintenance. I've got to be able to use screwdrivers, spanners, adjustable spanner, basic everyday, everybody has tools, no specialist tools unless I buy them or borrow them. I've got to make this thing last. That didn't sound good. Okay, Back soon. Okay, I just want to come to this because I've taken off the back tyre so that, because, well, that was fouling, and I found out that the gears actually work on this. I'm actually quite surprised. It will, bear with me. The chain is awful, but it does move slowly through the gears. It does, promise. There we go. It moves through the gears, and the front derailleur as well. Yep, that moves through as well. It isn't actually that shit a bike. Both wheels are alarmingly true. Like, they run straight. They're not buckled. The bearings could do with clean up, which is what I'm going to have to do. But I'm going to continue on. Oh yeah, this bike is massively confused as well. At the front, for some reason, it has cantilever brakes, and on the back it has V brakes. Why? I don't know. It says 15 SIS, which is the old SIS types gear change, which would mean 15 speed, 5 at the back, 3 at the front, so 5 by 3 is 15. The thing is, somebody took that sticker off because there is actually 6 cogs at the back. So somebody somewhere along the line has upgraded this bike. Not very well, but they have tried to upgrade this bike. The seat post is, I've undone the bolt here. It is absolutely seized, looking solid. So that's going to have to be bathed in the world's finest WD-40 to try and release that. Apart from that, some cables and greasing the bearings, and to be honest, I'm not even going to bother trying to repair the chain. I'm just going to get a new chain. Apart from that, this isn't... Wait a sec, where can I find something? Wooden hammer, wooden bit. Touching wood with both hands. That looks wrong, doesn't it? Grasping wood. This isn't that bad a bike. Hello everybody and welcome back. I think I'm going to give up for today because I'm at the point where I've disassembled quite a lot of it. Well, there's a lot of things which aren't coming apart and being lovely disassembled, like you see on normal YouTube videos where you just see them breaking it off with a spanner and suddenly, miraculously, it's all ready and all in many pieces just to be rebuilt. And yeah, that doesn't happen here. That is a big pile of shite. Between normal operation and about to do something which will cause lasting damage to me or it, currently I'm about there. So I'm going to stop for a little while and just go take a deep breath, using normal tools, non-specialist tools, i.e. spanner, hammer, other hammer, WD-40. I have had to resort to a junior hacksaw, cable cutters, and a big fucking screwdriver. No, the cranks aren't coming off. There's one brake block which isn't coming off. The handlebars aren't coming out. And I want to cry. Welcome back. And due to the miracle of editing, Now see that I have managed to remove the forks. And that's about it, because, well, the cranks are still on. I've managed to snap a brake post, getting the brakes off. And yeah, this is toast, absolutely ruined. So I've made a decision. This is going to be redesignated. This is no longer my pub bike. Because this is. And in the next episode, I'm going to discuss what's going to happen with it.